Beautiful humans, welcome back to another episode of the I Like Birds podcast. I'm your host, Rippey, and this podcast is dedicated to the non-believers, the confused believers, and the true believers. Because I, at one time or another, was all three, and I'm here to help you get a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he's all about. Let's grow in our faith together. You learn as I learn. I like the Bible, and I like words, so therefore, I like birds. Let's start the show.
People, are you ready? Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Hey, my friends, welcome back to another episode of I Like Birds podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Always appreciated. You could have been anywhere in the world, but hey, you chose I Like Birds, so I appreciate you. Hey, it's been a while since I've done a Bird Talk episode, so we have a lot of new listeners. And if you don't know, a Bird Talk is basically just a smaller, condensed version of the show where I just kind of give you a little word that you can kind of take in a small sample size and just keep it moving. All right, so I'm actually going to be, I think, in South Carolina at Myrtle Beach with Noah for spring break when this comes out, because I don't think I'll have the opportunity to record too much while I'm with him, because we only have limited time with him because it's spring break. So I just wanted to release this to you guys this week to let you know that I'm thinking about you guys, and I appreciate you tuning in, and you definitely have some time to catch up on some previous episodes because this is going to be a shorter one. This clip that I'm about to play you was written and recorded in 1965, and it's terrifying how much of this has happened since then. A prophetic voice and one that we should listen to. The gentleman's name is Paul Harvey, and he was an American broadcaster, and this is called If I Were the Devil. Take a listen.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Fascinating, huh? How many of y'all, when you're listening to it, you just throughout each line, you just start thinking, oh wait, that's happening right now. Oh wait, that's already happened. That's because we're seeing the consequences of sin and the progression of sin all around us in this world. Now that we have access to the internet, the entire curtain has been peeled back, and we're just seeing the just the lies of the enemy just on right in our face, in our culture. We have Lil Nas X, and I'm a hip hop fan, so this kind of affected me a little bit more maybe than it affected you. But seeing him being praised for this shoe that came out, that were Satan shoes that had basically they were selling 666 copies of it. And they had a Bible verse that was talking about Satan falling like lightning, when even though I think they had the context of it way off, obviously, because they didn't read the before or after. They just took something about it, what it said about the devil. And they have like drops of human blood in it, which is wild. Like, why the heck would that be in a shoe? That's a really demonic. And he's getting praised for these shoes. You know, I'm not saying he's getting praised by everybody, but he's getting praised by the culture of hip hop and whatnot. And he's getting these fat checks from Nike and stuff like that. And but Kanye puts out a Jesus album, and he gets ridiculed, and he gets labeled bipolar and crazy, and gets hate from all directions, you know. And it's just crazy. We're living in the upside down of a moral world, and that's because the progression of sin, and it's just going to continue. But we, in our personal lives, in our own personal walk with God, we need to do our very best to stay active in the Word, reading it, listening to it, listening to worship music, and active in our prayers to be protected from the lies and the temptations of the enemy. Because clearly he's got his hands in a lot of different baskets right now. Even the Easter basket, it's an egg. You know, I like how he said that on that video. And it's just something to think about. And I recommend you listen to that again. And it hits different every time I've listened to it. So you and I both know that we're at our best when we have a fresh breath of God in our lives, and we have to be intentional on making that a priority in our lives. We talk a lot about those daily God meals on this show. Just make sure you're getting those in every single week, and we know that you're at your best when you're having those God meals. And we should want to, because knowing God more and feeling God more is the best feeling in the world. And take this clip and use it to your advantage. You got inside baseball. You know, like once I heard that, I was like, all right, I kind of see what's happening here. I kind of see what's behind the curtain. You know, it's been peeled back, and we're now awakened to the fact that a spiritual warfare is happening right now, and we are living in prophetic times. It's a great time to be alive if you're it's a great time to be alive. You know, we're for the most part, we have everything we need. We're safe. We live in the wealthiest country still. We still got a lot of blessings here. Let's not act like everything's don't act like the whole boat is sinking, you know? But we never know what is being written, right? And is one day what's going on right now, is that going to be a powerful piece of history? And let's just make sure that we are on the right side of it, my fellow birds. Make sure you're staying on the team of Jesus. Don't get over there and just go following along with the world and the culture and what they say is acceptable and what that's cool. You know, nah. Jesus over culture all day, every day. All right. So thank you for listening. Share this episode and this podcast with everybody that you know, and enjoy the previous episodes as I'm out with my family in South Carolina right now, enjoying the time with Noah for spring break. And I'll see you next week, baby. Who knows where we'll be? I don't know. We'll figure it out though.